Hi everyone, another beautiful spring morning here in Lithuania, Friday, April 3rd. It's actually still pretty cold. I think maybe it's +3 right now. Did have a hard frost last night, but warming up quick. As you can see, it's time to cultivate the garden again. This is actually, I think, the earliest I've ever done it. I think I did it maybe April 10th last year, but April 3rd is pretty early. But other than the massive amount of snow we got over the winter, we really haven't had a lot of rain recently since the snow melt. So point is, things are pretty dry. So in Lithuania, if it's dry enough to cultivate, you better do it, because next week we might get rain all week and then the garden's just a mud fest and you can't get in there. So it's at least a month before we put anything into the garden. So it's just gonna have to sit. Might have to pull a couple weeds, but again, you do it when you can. I'll keep you posted. So it's done. It wasn't too bad. Took me, I don't know, 30 minutes altogether. I did take some breaks. Looks pretty good. One other thing I forgot to mention is that I used to have the edges pretty straight, and I try to cut in an edge to keep the grass from creeping into the garden. And as you can see, what has happened over the last few years is I've done the opposite. I've made that line of the garden creep into the yard. I've kind of done the opposite. So I plan to correct that line and make it a little more straight. You might say, who cares if it's straight or not? But it makes a difference when you're planting, when you're measuring, just to keep things as square and straight as possible. Now it's time to clean up. And our pepper and tomato plants are coming along nicely. My wife has already separated some of the bigger pepper plants into their own planters. Meanwhile, some of the, or all of the tomatoes are still kind of clumped together. She will separate those out into separate planters soon. And we do have some extra peppers because, of course, some of these might not make it, and it's always good to have some spares. Worst case scenario, we can give them to friends or neighbors if they need them. But basically, for about a month every spring, our south-facing windows and west-facing windows get taken over by tomato and pepper plants. It's all good. Soon we will actually put them on shelves so they can get more even lighting. I'll keep you posted. Hi everyone, another beautiful spring day here in Lithuania. Blue skies, sunshine, which is a little deceptive. The actual temperature is only about +7, +8, but the sun makes it feel much warmer. For any of you that were following my channel in the spring, I talked a little bit about my pavers, or what I refer to them as bricks. They're just paving bricks. They surround my whole house and go throughout my whole driveway. And I struggle to keep the moss off of the bricks. You can see over here a little example of what builds up, and that's just taken a year for it to build up that bad. And you can see it doesn't look real nice. Versus over here, here's a section that I've already done. I got a little cleanup to do with some of the sand or grit that's in the cracks, but you can see a big difference between this and that. And to solve the problem, I bought a pressure sprayer, a pressure washer, pretty good one, with a special attachment on it that's got like some brushes and some jets that spin around on it that supposedly we're going to make the process easier for me to clean the moss. You know, I've tried all different methods. There's, you know, a steel brush that you can do, which is very hard on the shoulder. Just using a scraper standing up at the end of the pole doesn't really work. You know, supposedly there's some chemicals you can use, but the chemicals just kill the moss. It doesn't remove the moss. You still got to remove it. So I've tried everything, and really the last several years what I've ended up doing is getting down on my hands and knees with a little tiny little knife and scraping each and every crack as far as you can see, which is weeks and weeks of pretty back-breaking work. It's a little bit therapeutic for my brain, but not good for my knees or my back. But unfortunately, that sprayer and attachment doesn't exactly do what they said it's going to do. You know how that works. The salesperson sells you the dream. You get it home and find out what the reality is. But basically what happens is, first I take that special attachment and brush and just clean it really good. I go slow and spray it, and it gets a lot of the moss off, but it also leaves, unfortunately, quite a bit. Then I attach a sprayer to just remove all of the moss that it did remove and all the excess water, just to see what I'm left with. Then I go in and manually scrape the spots that it missed with my little knife. Then I hit it again with the special attachment, just for good measure, to clean things out in the cracks. Then I spray it off again just to get it clean. Then I have to add the new sand or the new grit to refill the cracks. Then I do a few other odds and ends. You're supposed to put like a mist of water on top of the sand, just to kind of not really seal it, but just hold it in there a little better. But obviously I got a ways to go. I'll keep you guys posted, but it's going pretty slow. Admittedly, it is a little bit easier on my back and my knees so far, but what I thought was going to take, you know, several days, looks like it's going to take me a couple, 2-3 weeks to get this done. But it is what it is. I'm kind of at that time of the year where, you know, other than preparing for the garden, there's not a lot for me to do. We're not cutting grass or anything quite yet, but it is starting to green up and starting to grow a little bit. So I'll keep you guys posted. Hi everyone, another beautiful spring day here in Lithuania. I'm going to go ahead and try to wash the ATV today. As you can see, it definitely needs it. It may not last very long. It's kind of a waste of time during mud season. It'll be dirty again within a half of a kilometer of leaving home, but I've been putting it off, so I'll try to get in there and get a lot of this garbage cleaned up. And while I'm at it, I've mentioned in past videos, you know, as much as I do like this CF Moto ATV, a couple complaints, and one of them is, you know, the undercarriage protection or lack thereof. This is what I guess we would call a skid pan. Obviously, I've taken it off. I'm going to go ahead and clean it up. A lot of dirt and gravel, etc., builds up in there. It's actually not too bad, but back to the lack of protection. You know, again, it's tough to even call this a skid pan. Clearly it is plastic. It is not metal. It's not very thick. So basically it doesn't really provide a lot of protection. I mean, it'll protect you from some small sticks, etc., but you know, any kind of stump or you know, larger rock, I'm not really sure how much this is going to protect. Of course, I know I can add on an aftermarket metal or aluminum skid pan that's going to give a lot more protection, but I just haven't gotten around to it. But anybody that's got a CF Moto, if you haven't replaced the skid pan with something stronger, I advise you to be very careful when you're out and about. And as I mentioned in a previous video on my Temu review, I did get a new rubber garage door seal for the bottom of my garage door. I installed that today. Wasn't a whole lot of fun. It's in. It's definitely looking a lot better than the old one. A lot more weather tight, although I think it's got a little bit of settling to do. I can still see some cracks of daylight, but what can you do? And the crocuses are winding down for the year, but they will soon be replaced by tulips and hyacinths and daffodils and other spring flowers. Our currant bushes are starting to bud and leaf. That's an encouraging sign. We will get plenty of more frost and cold nights, but they can handle it. And here you can see our local fox population always coming for a visit. You'll notice to the right on those birch trees there are some bottles. The neighbors collect birch sap and just drink it straight from the tree. They don't boil it down into syrup. And I've been seeing this male deer quite often. You can see the horns or antlers are in full velvet. That will get rubbed off. You'll rub it against some bushes and trees. You guys know the drill on that. On the hind leg, you can kind of see a musk gland mark. It's interesting. And then, of course, we got quite a few females roaming around. They're probably going to get ready to give birth here in a couple months, if not sooner. And also did get a visit from our local badger. Few other odds and ends passing by the trail cams, but I haven't checked them in the last few days, so who knows what else is out there.